absolute screeching and screaming, and there was something standing there on the edge of the road. The thing didn't just like gracefully get up and fly toward us. It jumped immediately straight up in the air and started flying fast directly at us.
I suspect that the Jersey Devil legend started with probably a deformed child. We're talking around the year 1735. That's a devil going through that woods. I think that these people that have claimed to have seen the Jersey Devil, they saw something, and they heard something. I don't know what it is, and all I can say is I haven't seen it yet.
This was in Colts Neck, probably, I guess it would be the southeast corner of Colts Neck Township, New Jersey. The time of day was probably 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It was a summer day. We looked across the way, across the field, and right against the woods, we saw the Jersey Devil looking at us.
Say, oh, it doesn't exist. Well, come out here and camp overnight, please, and see what you find. Because
on a dark and stormy night in 1735, a woman named Deborah Leeds found herself in labor, giving birth to a child, her 13th child. Deborah and Jebeth Leeds were Quakers, living in the Pine Barrens, around what is now Leeds Point, Atlantic County, New Jersey. The Pine Barrens themselves are a 1,000,000-acre area of wilderness located in southern New Jersey, a rough and rugged landscape, now in the present, but especially back then. The Leeds family had settled and were known as one of the first families in the area, and as the tale goes, that the year of 1735, times were more difficult than ever. With 12 children already to feed and a harsh environment surrounding them, Deborah Leeds, in what should have been a joyous occasion, finding out that she was with child, instead, she found herself in a real dilemma, and as she would go on to say, in a curse. The story goes that throughout her pregnancy, and on the night of her labor, she had cursed the 13th child. She cried and screamed out loud, "I curse this child, the 13th. Let this child be of the devil." Overwhelmed by the situation, she continued on, "The 13th, let it be of the devil." Ultimately, the birth would be successful, and by all accounts, the birth was of a healthy baby boy, normal and fair, when all of a sudden, as the tale goes, then began to slowly change into a monstrous creature before their very eyes. Hooves replaced his feet, a goat's head had sunken in, leathery wings had pierced out, that of a bat, and a forked devilish tail. The creature, growling and letting off a sinister scream, it began to thrash back and forth. As folklore would tell it, it's said to have devoured the midwife present at birth, and then his own very mother, just before flying up the chimney and fleeing into the pines, its new home, to become the legendary menacing creature known as the Jersey Devil. This wild and shocking tale of folklore is the origin story for one of America's oldest tales and mysteries, dating all the way back to colonial times. In the early 1700s, the tale of the Jersey Devil, also known as the Leeds Devil, would draw fascination and intrigue for generations throughout the region. The legend centers around the Leeds family, or Mother Leeds in particular, a real-life figure in Deborah Leeds, a mother of 12 children and wife to Jebeth Leeds. The Leeds were a prominent Quaker family in the area, with ties in many fields, including that of politics. Many that have studied the legend of the Jersey Devil and its origins involving the Leeds family suspect that the Jersey Devil is simply a myth, that the involvement of the Leeds family is the result of slanderous gossip of the time. Accusations and lies were rife, and creating rumors of ties to the devil or to witchcraft was a popular form of character assassination that many of the Leeds family's enemies would use against them. While on the other hand, many residents throughout time and researchers in the field of cryptozoology argue to the real-life existence of this devil and point to a string of real-life events and incidents that lend weight to their claims. In the 18th and 19th centuries, the Jersey Devil was spotted sporadically throughout the Pine Barrens region, frightening local residents and any of those brave enough to traverse the vast undeveloped area. Devilish cries and screams were often reported, heard emitting from the dark forest and swampy bogs. For years, local farmers would tell of finding of their livestock killed and mutilated. Over time, the legend of the Leeds Devil would continue to grow, occasionally overstepping the boundaries of just the Pine Barrens. The most infamous of these events occurred during the week of January 16th through January 23rd of 1909. Early in the week, reports started emerging from all across the Delaware Valley that strange bipedal-like tracks were being found in the snow. The mysterious hoof-like footprints went over and under fences, through fields and backyards, and even across the rooftops of houses. The tracks described as bipedal hooves in the fresh snow, as if the creature walked upright, just as a human. They were even reported in large cities such as Camden and Philadelphia. Panic among citizens immediately began to spread, and posses formed in more than one town. Fear and intrigue grew even greater when it was reported that bloodhounds had refused to follow the unidentified creature's trail in the town of Hamilton, leaving their handlers perplexed. Schools had closed or suffered low attendance throughout lower New Jersey and in the Philadelphia area. Lumber mills in the Pine Barrens were forced to close when workers had refused to leave their homes and travel through the woods to get to work, claiming that they would risk becoming victim to the Jersey Devil. The Philadelphia Zoo had even placed a reward or bounty on the devil to the price of $10,000. Again, in that week of terror of 1909, eyewitnesses had spotted the beast in Camden and in Bristol, and in both cities, reports that the police had discovered and fired upon the creature and didn't manage to bring it down, saying that their bullets had done no damage. A few days later, it again had reappeared in Camden, attacking a late-night meeting of a social club, then flying away while letting out its sinister scream. Earlier that day, it had appeared in Hamden Heights, terrorizing a trolley car full of passengers, scratching and ripping at the roof before flying away. Witnesses for the incident had described that it looked like a large flying kangaroo. Another trolley car full of people had seen it in Burlington when it had scurried across the tracks in front of their car. In West Collingsworth, it appeared on the roof of a house and was described as one eyewitness. It was a large, weird ostrich-like creature. It's reported that firemen had even turned their hoses upon the creature, but it then had attacked them and flown away. For the entire week, people reported that their livestock, particularly their chickens, were being slaughtered and mutilated. Finally, the creature then reappeared later in the week in the town of Camden, where a local woman had found the beast attempting to eat her dog alive. The animal cried in pain as the devil attempted to tear at it. The woman, in desperation, is said to have hit the creature with a broomstick, eventually causing it to fly away. Supernatural and otherworldly, the legend of the Jersey Devil has left us asking for answers for decades. Even up until now, accounts of the Jersey Devil continue to be reported. And although just an obscure tale of New Jersey folklore, the story of the Jersey Devil has more of a cultural impact than most would think. First, with it becoming an extremely popular local legend with the people of the Pine Barrens, with them embracing the spooky history, and even with the state's very storied and successful NHL hockey franchise, the New Jersey Devils, taking the name and paying homage to the story. And guys, before we go, I want to read out some of the more interesting excerpts and eyewitness accounts associated to the Jersey Devil that I came across, 3 in particular. So our first account is from a woman named Mary Ritzer Christensen, and it goes as the following. This has haunted me since it happened in 1972. I was a senior at the time, when at Glassboro State College. I had heard about the Jersey Devil when I came to South Jersey, but being from North Jersey, a totally different world, I thought I was far too sophisticated to believe in such humbuggery. One winter night, I was driving to Glassboro from Blackwood on Green Tree Road. At that time, the road was flanked by orchards and farms. There were a few houses. There was hardly any development. I was completely sober and awake when I caught a glimpse of something in my rearview mirror. Curious as to what it could have been, I slowed down to take a gander. It was dark out, but the moon lit enough that I had no trouble at all discerning the upright figure of a creature crossing the road from one side to the other, roughly 25 feet behind my car. The figure stood taller than a man, by far, and had thick haunches, similar to that of a goat, supporting its nearly human-looking torso and huge woolly head. It moved heavily, and didn't seem at all disturbed by my being there. I didn't linger long enough to see much more. I hit the gas and flew to the Mansion Park Apartments in Borough. So petrified was I that I slept the rest of the night in the car, unwilling to get out in the same darkness that had introduced me to the Jersey Devil. Never again from that day have I ridden on Green Tree Road, day or night, that I haven't gotten the heebie-jeebies just thinking about that winter night so long ago. Our second account comes from the Chief Ranger of the Wharton State Forest, Alan McFarland. Back in 1981, Mr. McFarland speaks of a mysterious tale that had occurred to him. It goes as the following. I had gone to a farmer's house near Jenkins, where I came upon 4 pigs that were lying dead close near their pen. The back of their heads had been eaten out, and there were deep scratches all over their bodies. There were no tracks or blood on the ground, and I had looked everywhere. Till this day, I can't really explain it. All I can say is what killed those pigs wasn't like any animal I had seen, and I don't know what human could have done this. Another more contemporary account comes from a man named Sonny. He describes the following. Let me tell you of a sighting of the Jersey Devil. I was driving up Route 9 in Bayville at around 10 p.m. There were 2 cars in front of me, and we were traveling about 35 miles per hour. To the right of Route 9 is a mini multi-building with woods behind it, and to the right is all woods. All of a sudden I saw this big thing running across Route 9. It looked like one of those classic pictures of the Jersey Devil. It had no tail, no fur. Its ribs had showed. It had a long, odd head with short ears that laid flat. It looked almost 10 feet tall. I had noticed it because the first car had slammed on the brakes. When I had looked ahead, I saw this thing galloping across Route 9 and straight into the woods. I was not really scared because it didn't really register. I stopped to mail something in the mailbox about 300 feet from the main road, and I saw a child's shirt, shorts, and 1 sneaker lying on the ground. I mailed my letter, ran into my car, and laid rubber all the way home. I was certain that I'd seen the Jersey Devil. No one believes me. They say it was a deer or a moose. I have never seen a deer that big, that fast, or weird looking in my life. What is really creepy is that the 2 other people driving in front of me had slammed on their brakes, so they must have seen it too. And guys, I just want to say thank you so much if you've listened this far, whether audio format or video format. I thank you and I really appreciate it. If you could leave a positive review or even any type of review, any feedback is appreciated. Take care and have a good one.